Okay then, I'm James Anderson from Reading University. I invented some mathematics, designed a supercomputer, engaged in all sorts of stuff. We've got people from Reading Technical College, we've got people from companies, we've got people from schools, teachers, head teachers on our table. And what we did was record all of our ideas in a spider diagram and drew up 7 conclusions. And what we decided we needed most of all in the world was a dating agency to stick people together, an online dating agency that makes companies able to advertise what they offer about placements. We think work experience is a really good way of getting people into companies, learning what computing is. A way of getting STEMnet advisors out into schools and providing more support. STEMnet tends to fizzle out a little bit without support around it from the universities, from the schools. We thought that the advertising could have guidance for companies, things like health and safety, things about child protection, giving them a how-to guide so that small companies can go through the legal steps of allowing them to engage with vulnerable children. A really practical suggestion there. The dating agency should also provide careers advice and things like that, and should be an employer umbrella. So we heard of an offer from one company that was willing to train one teacher in every school in England about Java programming. And that was turned down by the Department for Education because it was vendor specific. Now, it wasn't vendor specific. Java is not particular to a specific vendor. But if we have the dating agency, we can put companies together and they can teach Java whatever it is. Let's bring those offers back to life. That's a really big impact. One teacher per school in England. 5,000 teachers turned down by the Department for Education. Let's make it so that they can accept it next time it's on offer. Let's put together an employer umbrella inside a dating agency. Okay, second thing. Anybody here heard of the EITB, the Engineering Industries Training Board? Nope, that proves that none of you are 65 or older. What it was a levy on all technology companies in the country. They paid money into the board. They could take money out if they were providing training for apprentices, and it was mostly done by a thin sandwich spread across the entire 4 years of technology degrees. If you didn't provide training, then it was just a levy, but at least you were paying for things. That drove all of the creativity and learning that went into the brain drain in the 1960s. All those really smart people, the technologists with the know-how to deliver in companies who, damn it, left the country, but they were trained by the EITB. We know how to do this. Go back to the retired civil servants, ask them how they did it. Go back to the retired company executives, ask them how they engaged. The experience is there. Let's use it. Don't ask me how I know. I'm only 55. What really matters is passion and people. It's all very well providing the technology. You need the people who are passionate. You need to enable them to engage. And we said some rude things about the pressures that are on people in schools and universities, and easing those pressures might help. With passion, we've got volunteers. Volunteers from all sections of the community. They need to plug into the dating agency to know to offer their skills and to get some guidance. This is how you do stuff. Too often a volunteer goes to a school and asks the teacher, what should I do? It needs to be the other way around. The volunteer has the experience, should engage with the school to agree a sensible discussion topic, delivery method. They can learn the delivery methods from the schools and should be supported by the online dating agency, by STEMnet, to build up their skills so that they can roll that across many different schools. So the dating agency comes back in again. The dating agency always appears in all of our topics. Right. We believe in technology-enhanced education. E-reading books instead of books, it probably pays for itself. Make sure the e-books are programmable so that pupils have got a platform to develop their programming skills. Give the books to the pupils so that poor pupils from backgrounds who can't afford technology get it from the schools. Make sure it's Wi-Fi enabled so that they can browse the web in school or at home, so you can do backups. We spoke about the IT support that's in schools. That's pupils' first contact and perceptions of what technology is like. Oh my God. There could be much more use of remote support for computing in schools. From what I've seen in schools, the tech guys are doing it the old-fashioned way of walking from machine to machine, doing stuff. That's not the way to do it. Right. Now, with all this technology and stuff, we want to know if it really, really works. Let's do research with universities to assess if providing e-learning books, smartphones, whatever it may be, actually improves outcomes. Let's find out what works, evidence-based stuff. If you get universities involved in doing the research, they are engaging with schools, which they could do a lot more of. So there are lots of spin-outs of this. Look at everything as a platform. Look at e-learning books. Set up a discussion group to see how you use that platform. E-learning, the e-reading software, does it allow pupils to mark work submitted by students? There are all sorts of questions you can get if you explore it as a platform. Okay, number 5. There used to be, again this is before my time, there used to be a common matriculation requirement for universities. In order to go to university in Britain, you had to have 2 things. A equivalent of GCSE qualification in English and in a foreign language. Now, if you were a computer scientist or a psychologist, you didn't need the foreign language, but damn it, you just had to have one. Let's bring that back, but change it. Let's make it engineering plus computing. There's a good reason for making it plus computing, that when students arrive at university studying French, studying archaeology, whatever, if they have no computing skills, the only people who can teach them are the computer science staff. If they already have computing skills, then archaeologists can teach them the subject-specific use of their materials. It suddenly enables the whole of the university curriculum to be delivered through the medium of computing and to enhance the computing skills. So, Mr. Gove, we want a matriculation requirement for universities, English and computing. Thank you. Number 6. We've got 6 and 7. We're nearly there. Examining drives school education. Teachers teach to the qualifications, so let's make the qualifications be what we want them to be. Let's make them appropriate. Let's make them about problem solving, not just about coding skills. Let's make them cross-curriculum. Let's put computing into arts, into music, into English. Let's spread computing everywhere and change the qualifications. If you change the qualifications, within a few weeks you'll have every teacher in the country looking to see what the qualifications are. Engage them in study groups. How would you exploit computing in this? Bring it into primary schools. Many primary school teachers don't have much exposure to computing. Let's bring it in via a discussion of qualifications. Right, our last one, number 7, perceptions. We started off with a dating agency, and then we thought what we really need is to present ourselves on television. Loads of advertising on the X Factor, Coronation Street, and Channel 4 News. This is the way to get to the parents. It's great when somebody stands up and says, I design supercomputers, I'm a billionaire, you can do it too. I haven't done the billionaire bit. We had a practical example from a school of a merit technique. The idea is you collect together 25 sticky gold stars. I remember gold stars. And when you've got 25 of them, you get a certificate. Now, the way you got these merits was to find a newspaper cutting that shows how computing is used in some other industry, such as medicine, law, whatever it may be. As soon as that was announced, all of the parents started reading the newspapers so their children could come in and get the merits. And they got thousands of merits, so much so that the administrators of the merit scheme ran out of stars and patience. And the end result was that the engagement with computing jumped enormously. The parents were suddenly reading about and discovering how important computing is and that it changes the career pathways. You can cure cancer by being a computer scientist who finds the part of the genome that causes it. You don't have to be a medic to have an incredible impact on people's health. So that was the practical suggestion for merits that we've done before. I think our table deserves a gold star and a round of applause and a few whistles.